And welcome back to the 2017 Hearthstone Winter Championship Tour. We are here with the deciding match number 5 of the best of 5 series between Ixar and Puffin. What can you tell us about the upcoming matchup?
It's gonna be really great. We have seen two completely different strategies going forward. We have seen Ixar with the faster lineup running aggro summon, aggro warrior, and a dragon priest, while Puffin is doing combo control sort of thing with his Reno Warlock, Miracle Rogue, and a Jade Druid. And we are gonna see the last match, which is Ixar's Dragon Priest against Puffin's Jade Druid over here. And it's all on the line. The spot for the grand finals on the championships, and Puffin, who has been doing really well this year, is gonna look towards to get another tournament under his belt. Meanwhile, Ixar, having not such a great year, is really looking to break out here on the Winter Championships.
Yes, sir, indeed. The matchup itself is a little bit in favor of the Priest player, especially if they get to curve out really nicely, put out that pressure early on. It's more of a mid-rangey deck. You expect it to start putting pressure onto the Druid player as soon as possible, because in the late game, there's no way for the Druid player to really lose it anymore. So I expect this game to be in favor of the Priest player. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. The Priest has such a good minions in Dragonite Operatives and Twilight Guardians. 6 health is really hard to deal with Druid. So if the Priest can get on the board early, basically he can force the Druid player to use his removal, use trades, and basically the Druid player cannot get the Jade Columns going, and the Priest player just rolls with the big board with the health buffs, with his healing, and goes on and wins the game. We have seen it so many times happen in this tournament, and I have to give this to Ixar. He has been doing really, really well, and the Priest versus Druid is really good matchup for him on this last game of the series.
We'll have to wait and see. It seems that both players are ready to start, so let's get going with Puffin on the upper side of the board and Ixar down low. From the starting hands, it looks like Puffin has got a fairly good selection, except for that 6 mana minion, which he decides to mulligan away. And Ixar is looking for his dragons and their activators, keeping that Nether Spite Historian. What do you think?
It's a really good hand for Ixar. You get Whelp on 1, and then you can continue with either Historian or a Fairy Dragon, depending on if you need a minion or not. And there is Puffin going with the Innerate Coin Fandral. Really risky play here. A single Shadow Word Pain would be the end of this, and there is no follow-up if that happens.
Well, yeah, indeed. Possibly the biggest all-in you could take right now in this situation. Ixar does have the 3/2 minion that is impervious to spells right now, so unless Puffin has some way to taunt minions in there or somehow increase their attack to be able to handle that Fairy Dragon, then that Fandral might just be dead soon. But let's see what comes up from this Raven Idol. The Hired Gun works with Innervate, so there's one taunt option available out of these. Any minion at 3 or less or spell at 3 or less can be worked with, but wow, that Claw, really deciding here.
That's huge.
It is.
I think Puffin is thinking about whether he wants to take the swipe, but the Claw is so clean here, and you can then next turn maybe even innervate Azure Drake, which is like the hardest minion for Priest to deal with.
Yep.
And let's see what the Priest still knows how to word Pain, still no minion to play except the Historian, but the Historian has only 1 attack. It doesn't do anything in this board.
No, and you have to waste 1 mana as well. Just like we talked before, it's very, very important for you to curve out well when you're playing a Dragon Priest. So a 3 mana minion, something like a 3 mana 3/4 would have been perfect for this situation. The 1/3 itself is just going to get eaten up by the Fandral as it does. And on turn 4, no options. The Shadow Board Horror does absolutely nothing. You can just drop your Fairy Dragon and go heal phase. You're losing so much tempo with these plays.
Basically missing three mana on a curve deck like Dragon Priest, it's huge. And Puffin is looking really good. Decided to go with the Hired Gun last turn. Maybe saving the innervate for something like Jade Behemoth to play if you throw it, and still cannot really use his spells. There's a possibility for swipe hero power, but decides to go with the Azure Drake because it's so hard to deal with. Even if there is something weird like Excavated Evil, you will still have at least one minion alive, and you are constantly pushing damage.
Yep, Ixar deciding to go with the Draconet Operative gets options of Brand, Jade Behemoth, or Fel Rage. I like the Feral Rage, and Ixar does decide to go with it simply because it is a removal that you can actually utilize against either the Drake or against the now 3/2 Fandral. But it seems that Puffin will actually be able to clear the board once again with that spell damage plus the hero
And the second
power.
Raven Idol, this is huge for Puffin. I mean, Ixar really hoped that the operative, that there wouldn't be too much spells, that the operative would at least trade to one of these minions, and then he could use the Feral Rage for other. But we can see that Puffin has everything he needs on his hand.
Yeah, the amount of value generated by the Fandral has been pretty incredible right now. Usage of Living Roots works, also a Wrath cycle to remove the 5/1. There's no downside to using the face as a removal right now, because the 5 damage doesn't really do that much.
And saving the Living Roots is huge here, because you have actually, with the Mark and the Living Roots and Hero Power, you have 8 damage on hand, you have 7 damage on board. You are threatening lethal right here. And we can see no taunt,
no
Hero Power, just the Sylvanas to hope and actually contest this board. But there we see it. Mark of Nature, Living Roots, Hero Power takes more time than pretty much any other turn, just counts it out. It's exactly lethal. Puffing, going at it. Turn 6 lethal with that Jade Druid against the Priest. This is huge.
Yeah, it is. But in favor of Ixar, we have to say that, do you expect to see a turn 6 lethal out of a Druid? You were at 15, so kind of playing that Sylvanas is not that bad.
You can count that it might be there. There
it's
is
so
like
unlikely.
Few outs that it is there, but you cannot play around it, never.
Yeah.
And this has gone absolutely against our expectations.
Completely against it. It feels kind of strange actually to see that such high amount of speed come out of the Druid. And those plays were also very, very fast. Both players clearly very, very decisive in their actions, to say the least.
It's sad to see Ixar drop, but top 4 still a great tournament for him. And Puffin going to the grand finals, he took a huge risk with the turn 1 Fandral, and he just went with it. He went with the odds that he had, and he played really well out of it, and it really paid off in this game.
Exactly. That will be it for us on the caster side. We'll take a short break and be right back with more 2017 Winter Hearthstone action.